nobody's child. Is that what it is? A very tough statement to say, but as human caused fire snuffed out the lives of 8 newborns, the sheer horror and heartbreaking realities of national capitals, medical care establishments openly flouting rules is staring us at our faces. It's an open dare of those with clout, power, money to those who want their loved ones treated, their children, elderly and family members treated. We still shudder thinking about what happened with East Delhi's Born Baby Care Hospital. The way it was up in flames, some of those newborns would have breathed in oxygen barely for a few days in this world. But unfortunately, reality is stark and grim. Look at this data from the Health Department of the Delhi government, showing that out of 1,183 registered nursing homes in the capital, the registration of 28.74%, that's around 340 nursing homes, have expired. Some between the range of 3 to 5 years ago, but they still continue to function. In fact, some of them are as small as 2-bed facility and some as big as a 70-bed facility, the strength that some full-fledged hospitals could boast of. Now, we don't know what kind of license or permits they were lacking. According to Hindustan Times, when contacted, some of the facilities parroted out the standard excuses. Their renewal process was under review. They lacked a fire NOC, a prerequisite for obtaining licenses, bureaucracy or financial troubles dating back to COVID. Let's give you an example from the latest. The accused in the Delhi fire, the owner of the baby care hospital, Dr. Kichy, is a repeat offender. You all may know about this, you all may have heard about this, but let me show some instances of how. He had a case against him in 2019 for operating a nursing home without registration. He was running facilities without beds beyond permitted numbers across institutions. In fact, the one that was up in flames had a permit of only 5 beds. Instead, 12 patients' newborns were admitted. In Paschim nursing home, he had registrations for 9 beds, but 50 babies were found, 5 times more. In fact, my colleague explains to us the situation. An open flouting of rules from one of Dr. Kichy's nursing homes that, by the way, was shut down in a hurry after the fire in East Delhi Centre.
We are currently reporting from the Punjabi Bagh location from outside the Baby Care New Child Born Hospital, whose another branch in Vivek Vihar saw unfortunate incident where 7 lives of the infants were lost, and there are others as well who are seriously injured and currently undergoing the treatment. As per the details, this Punjabi Bagh branch has been shut overnight after the owner of the said facility has been arrested by the Delhi police. Remember, this is the particular facility which were equally flouting the norms, and there are 4 of the branches which were operative across the part of the capital city, with 2 of them in Faridabad and Gurugram as well. And this is the pictorial representation which clearly you are seeing on the screen of the mirror now. And as per the detail, in fact, in the year 2019, the DGHS found that the owner continued to operate a hospital he owned despite the agency scrapping its license over rule violations, but it continued to operate for years, and thereafter this facility was granted the license in the year 2022, but it was shut overnight by the authorities, and there are many of the inspections as well which are now part of the procedure. In fact, the locals have told us that many of the parents used to come here with their newly born child. In fact, this is the particular place where all the cylinders, oxygen cylinders were kept, and many a times there were small incidents which were reported from this facility as well in the Punjabi Bagh.
Just look at that, oxygen cylinders being filled at that particular spot, right under the floor where children, newborns are being treated. What are we even looking at? How could officials turn a blind eye to that? In fact, the simple way someone seems to be able to work their way around permits, look at this fire safety norm. You need a fire safety clearance certificate needed for renewal if, at least the law says, if the nursing home has 2 floors or more, but above the height of 9 meters. And if you don't, so the fire safety clearance can be ducked and lives kept at stake. Now, while we are talking about fire safety norms, TOI reports serious instances of multiple fires in the capital and how the accused are out on bail easily. Fire at a firecracker factory in Bhavana 2018, 17 workers were killed. Co-owners were arrested but are out on bail. Anaj Mandi fire in 2015, 43 laborers died. We don't know what about the arrests or legal actions, if at all. Munka fire, a factory fire in 2022, 27 factory workers were killed. Factory owners, others arrested, but out on bail. That's how cheap life is in India. And that's how easily rules can really be flouted. I'm being joined at this point by Dr. Anil Gupta, who's a spokesperson for BJP, Dr. Akash Deep Muni, who's a political analyst, Dr. Deepak Monga, who's a fire safety and evacuation expert, and Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, who's a chairperson for Nephron. Thank you very much, all 4 of you, for joining us. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, to you first. We all share the horror of what has unfolded, but can you just explain to us? We're talking about licenses, we're talking about 1/3 of nursing homes in the capital city functioning without licenses. What sort of licenses are required for nursing homes to function? I'm asking a very basic question because we know fire safety license permit with this particular instance, we know that one. But what are the kind of licenses that we are looking at when we are talking about 1/3 functioning without licenses? What could these be?
Good evening. I think this is a complete horror story. This is gross criminal and willful negligence of the owner of the nursing home. And my prayers are with the families who've lost the small infants, and special prayers also for infants who are battling their lives, who've been shifted to other hospitals. So whenever a building is being built or being remodeled to a nursing home which offers inpatient facilities, even if it is daycare facilities, the building plans have to be sanctioned in accordance to DDA. It has to have a completion certificate. You have to have a fire NOC. Of course, you have to have annual reviews, mock drills, staff training. I'm just focusing first on the fire. The gen sets have to be in specific locations. The diesel storage requires a 10-feet clearance with barricading and signage. And of course, you need a very detailed evacuation plan. Ingress and egress have to be separated. There has to be specific norms of fire safety doors, norms of the gangways and the stairways. Lift should not be operational during a fire episode. There should be a refuge holding areas and so on. When you come to a specific issue of licensing of a hospital or a nursing home, there are different phases of licenses which are required in pre-commissioning, commissioning, and post-commissioning, right from, of course, the DDA, NOC, and the master plan being approving it. There has to be specific issues which are addressed, which regards the pharmacy licenses, the approvals of spirit storage, operation theatre clearances, and so on. Very clearly, this particular institute or this setup lacked these licenses, lacked the registration. In such a small, crowded area, even an ambulance or a fire brigade will find it very difficult to enter. This is a learning lesson. We can't let these infants' precious lives go in vain. Let this be a wake-up call for all concerned. All norms, all safety protocols, all fire clearances, all protocols must be maintained in any healthcare institution for the safety not only of the near and dear ones of the patients, but of their neighbors and the surrounding buildings. Over to you.
Okay, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, you have mentioned and you listed out the licenses that are required. As a medical practitioner, you say that this should be a wake-up call. The lives of the infants should not be, gone in waste. Unfortunately, the reality is so different because now, here's what I have to say. if the Director of Health Services in Delhi had the numbers, had the statistics so easily that within days of a fire like this happening, they could easily come out and say that, listen, this is the data, 1/3 of the numbers, nursing homes in Delhi are without licenses. What was stopping them to act? That's the biggest question. Allow me to get in. I know our fire safety expert, Dr. Deepak Monga, is waiting in the panel as well, but allow me to get in a political response to this. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, how would you respond to this? A fire happens, newborns are killed on this fire. I'm not saying they die. I say the newborns are killed in this fire. 5 are battling for their lives. Now, when you have an instance like this, within 3 days, you have a report out in public now that says 1/3 of the nursing homes are functioning without licenses, some that have expired way back from 3 to 6 years. What is stopping the government from cracking down on this, sir?
Sneha ji, you are right. It is a very unfortunate incident. Now, I want to put some facts on the table. And please hear me very carefully. Now, this hospital that you are talking about had got a license from 2021 to 2024. Its registration ended on March 24, 2024. Hospital applied for extension in February 24, but because in return got a deficiency memo. Now, you say that what is the reason that the government is not taking action? I'll tell you what the government has done. The minister, Saurabh Bharadwaj, did not got the information of the fire on 25th from his secretary, got it on 26th from media. He called, he sent messages to his secretary, and then he sent a memo that what are the actions needs to be taken. He also made it public. You might have seen it. There are 4 points that strictest action should be taken against the owner and the doctor. The interesting factor is that it is 4 days till date. The Chief Secretary Health of Delhi is nowhere to be seen. And not only once, but many a times, there has been infallible mistakes by the Chief Secretary. Deliberate stopping of health medicines, salary bills, complaints against Health Secretary largest to lack of medicine in hospital, implementation of Farishte scheme, and many more.
Okay.
But apart from these, wait a minute, Sneha.
Okay, I get your point, what you're making. I will go to Dr. Anil Gupta to get a response to that. But Dr. Akashdeep Muni, you cannot fire from the shoulder of a chief secretary. You have a minister. The chief secretary is not elected by the people of India or by the people of Delhi. They are not elected. They're not the public servants. It is the minister who is elected by the people, sir. The minister is responsible. He's been a minister for a term. He cannot say that the chief secretary did not inform him. He cannot say that he did not have access to the files. He cannot say he did not have this data.
Now, please listen to me for 1 minute without interrupting. It is a very valid question. The minister cannot say.
30 seconds, sir, because I've given you quite a bit of time. I have to go to the others. 30 seconds.
Now, okay, 30 seconds. As per the GNCT Act brought in by Bharatiya Janata Party central government, there is no powers of ministers in Delhi. All the powers have shifted to LG. There is, even you will be shocked to know that till date, there has been no action against the health secretary. The health secretary, there has been number of instances, memos and complaints made by the minister to LG that fired his health secretary, but he is not fired. Do you know the chief secretary? He has got multiple extensions, and Honorable Supreme Court has said and made the GNCT Act illegal and scrapped it down. It is by a bill that GNCT Act has been imposed on people of Delhi, which is why the ministers cannot work. Please tell me, am I right or am I wrong? Because of GNCT Act,
Dr. Anil Gupta, please respond. Okay. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, I gave you more than 30 seconds for sure. Allow Dr. Anil Gupta to please respond. Very strong allegations here. Of course, we have asked him about minister. Minister can't close can't shut his eyes, and we have Mr. Monga also waiting. But Dr. Anil Gupta, the Aam Aadmi Party government, the minister, accusing again and again the Lieutenant Governor and the BJP of scuttling the ability to function.
Yeah, Sneha, good evening, and allow me a few minutes to reply on this. You know, Kejriwal government claims to provide the world-class health facilities in Delhi, but Kejriwal Saab is not even able to provide the basic health facilities in Delhi. I give you some statistics. You know, Delhi has a population of roughly 2 crores. And you know how many beds are there in government hospital? Less than 15,000 beds are there. You know, in Delhi, roughly 1,000 new birth happens per day. Per day. For how many these neonatal intensive care units are there in Delhi? Less than 100. That's why all these private nursing homes.
Sir, I request you very humbly. I request you. It's my job to steer this discussion. Please stick to the point of debate. We have debated the lack of infrastructure. We will debate the lack of infrastructure. Currently, we are debating something very different. Please stick to the point.
I was coming on that point only, but because one of the speaker has mentioned about something, that's why I need to reply. You know, how much basic thing, you know, why these private nursing homes are mushrooming in Delhi? Why the government is not having anything strict action on this? This is the failure of the government. Why a fire NOC is not given? Why Delhi Fire Service Department that is under the Delhi government? Why they are not making a routine checking? Who is responsible? Minister is responsible. Why the license is not renewed? If the license is not renewed, why the facilities has not been closed down? So this is illegal because the government is not able to provide the health facilities. People are forced to go to these illegal nursing homes where these incidents happen. That's why this is the failure of the Kejriwal government.
Dr. Deepak Monga, coming to you on a very important aspect of this. We've seen just how precarious this particular baby care center was. I mean, it's ironic that I have to even name the hospital or that facility in this sense. It was not a baby care facility. Anyway, that being apart, irony being apart, there are scores of such nursing homes, particularly in the north and west, according to the report of the DHS that is out latest. Why is this functioning?
The whole logic of the whole discussion went to political thing, but to be very frank, it was a mass massacre. What happened at the facility? Point one, whether licensed or not licensed, they had cylinders near the baby area. They had fire system which they had no entry or exit, so they cannot even have the political person, whoever gentleman had spoken, Mr. Muni, कि they had license and not license. मिला boss license मिलना तो wrong है क्योंकि उनका एंट्री एग्जिट एक ही था तो उनको मिला कैसे लाइसेंस पहली बात तो secondly it is very important that how did you maintain and sustain this licenses till 2024 when they didn't have the facility for people of just 5 to 10 kids and they had 50 children over there. Secondly, why was the certificates not told to the people outside who were staying around the kids, because my license is not renewed? The government, I would not understand, but the department, what we have is a fire department who has been working on the NBC code a lot of time for the buildings, which has to be now redone and ensure that the building from 1 meter should have fire NOC. The first action should be taken that. The second action is that the illegal dispensaries, whatever we have around us, should not be functioning, and not only illegal, they should really go to all the facilities and ensure that inspection is done and audits are done in everywhere. This is now we have come to know, we have now big, tall buildings. We have tall buildings in Delhi, major tall buildings in NCR, I can say so. And trust me, they are just waiting for an emergency to happen. They should have the entry exit happening. They should have the fire evacuation lift, because the major concern happens is when people don't know how to evacuate themselves from the system, from the building, from the places, because people literally always try to go by staircases. The kids could have been saved very easily. Very easily, the kids could have been saved if they had a ventilation of the smoke going out. They would have not died of suffocation. Why are there people not talking about that part? The political people are talking about the government failure. Boss, the kids have died. Talk about that part. Second, doctors are arrested fine, but they will be out on a bail. And this has been happening since so many years that we are not able to handle this kind of situations. Please understand the fire department cannot reach everywhere, but the logic is that they can do audits. Delhi, we have been working for so long as a capital of the nation, and it has the other gentleman, whoever said it is 2 crores population, the BJP gentleman, please tell him the Akada is 3 crores 38 lakhs. The Akada is 3 crore people, the entire Delhi population, and the kids will be born every day. I think that does not mean that people can actually go for illegal facilities. They should go for legal facilities. They should.
Dr. Deepak, I also want to ask one more question, Dr. Deepak Monga. Now, what is this with this certification that you need a fire clearance certificate or a fire safety certificate if your building has 2 floors or more and above the height of 9 feet? But below that, you don't need a certification. Why that rule? Now, if you are having a high intensive care unit, if you are having say a hospital or an elderly care unit or any of that, and even if you're not having 2 floors or a building above 9 feet, you still jolly well, I would say, practically as a common person, as a lay person, should require a fire clearance certificate. I don't understand this rule. Sorry, please help me understand, and the viewers.
Right up to 1952 या 53 के बाद से MBC has yet to be updated and upgraded as a rule in the fire systems. None of the government officials, none of the people are ready to really rework on it. The people who are working are veterans and they're very experienced people. Now we have Dr. Sanjeev, Honorable, he is a Padma Shri Award winner. He himself would know that you do need a fire license if you're running a hospital. It can be even on ground floor. Forget 9 meters, forget 10 meters, forget 2 meters. Agar aapa ground floor bhi, if you're running a hospital nursing home, it requires a fire NOC because you are having oxygen cylinder which is highly inflammable. You're having acetone, you have a spirit inside it, it requires a fire NOC. So I would not know how this comment has come. The building which is 9 meters, it is not a building, it is a nursing home. Forget nursing home, it's a baby care center. It has to have the future of the country was born over there. The kids who did not have names, they have died. We can't just shun ourselves by saying like, कि boss, नहीं 9 meter की building है तो उस पे NOC नहीं लगेगा. I say, boss, it's a nursing home. It's an intensive care unit. It requires. Like on this, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai can really, because he's a chairperson of Nephron, I'm sure he would be
absolutely
enlightening us, but telling us कि requirement है तो ये statement कहाँ से है मुझे नहीं पता. मैंने documents पढ़ लिए हैं. I've studied my BSc fire safety, everything I've studied. मुझे वो law में कहाँ पर वो point लिखा हुआ है मुझे दिखा दो. So then I would agree because कहीं भी लिखा नहीं है अब तक. Second, we have to understand, Muni sir, that
okay.
जो भी लाइसेंस है, लाइसेंस does not give the right कि बिल्डिंग में फायर लग जाएगी, सिलेंडर नीचे लग जाएगा. लोगों की जान गई है because of the situation issue happened that the person was inappropriately, illegally using the places. Dr. Anil Gupta को मैं clearly बोलूँ, the population of the country will keep on growing, the kids are going, but it is not the failure of the government, it is the failure of us as a citizen of the country that we don't understand that when we are going to places like this, there's an entry-exit point, there has to have the fire evacuation lift, there has to have an evacuation, there has to be in and outgoing people, and the kids cannot be kept like, sorry, but for like chickens kept at like 50 place. I wonder how are the kids kept over there. It is like, it is inhuman.
It's heartbreaking to even listen to you, Dr. Deepak Monga. But you know, honestly, between finding a facility immediately for a child who is gasping for breath, like one of the parents who had admitted their newborn to this particular facility, for the lack of cash, for the lack of any other support system, and just to be able to find something like this, a nursing home with supposedly facility to be able to treat their infants, I think it's more a sense of, oh, we found something near us. And mind you, many of the people who came here were not people from nearby. They had come from several distances, long distances for that matter. But very quickly, let's just get a sense of what Aam Janta, what common people think about this incident, the Delhi fire incident, what's on their minds. Let's just listen in before we go over to Dr. Sanjeev Bagai.
Sure.
ये 3 दिन पहले बता रहे जी, खबर मिली थी कि ऐसे ऐसे इनका वो जल गया है, उसके बाद बंद हो गया ये। तो 1-2 बार इसमें आग भी लग गई थी ऊपर। मेरे बच्चे ने खुद ही अंदर जा के उनको बच्चों को निकाला है।
मैं खुद लोगों को मना करती हूँ कि बच्चे में कभी कोई नुक्स नहीं होता है। जब 3 किलो का बच्चा हो रहा है, पर जो डॉक्टरों के कनेक्शन है ना, एक दूसरों से सब डॉक्टर के कनेक्शन बंधे हुए हैं यहाँ पे। अपनी कमीशन के लिए डॉक्टर यहाँ भेजते हैं और बेचारे गरीब आदमी को मारते हैं और अपनी जान जोखिम में डालते हैं, बच्चों की भी और अपनी भी। चाहे उनके खाने का ना हो, मोटे मोटे बिल भरवाते हैं ये लोग।
Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, I understand these are ordinary citizens, but at the end of the day, it would be ordinary citizens like them who would be rushing to a nursing home right next to them. Look at the points that they're saying. I mean, one of them is saying that they saw instances of fire in that particular facility earlier as well, and that their child had helped go and rescue some people. I mean, I don't know which facility was he talking about, but it's not this particular facility, but he says something like that. And then you have another woman who's saying there's a nexus among doctors. So you have a nexus among doctors, you have a nexus among politicians, and the ordinary citizens, innocent lives just being snuffed out. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai.
Yeah, so just focusing on the license part and approval part, I think if you stick to the adherence to the rules, you'll have less mishaps and less dangerous events. The building itself, when you're creating a hospital, is divided in 3 parts: pre-commissioning, commissioning, and post-commissioning. Each one has its given set of licenses, and the total number exceeds 110. But focusing just on the fire, apart from the fire NOC, there have to be minimum amount of, depending upon how much square foot built up area is being sanctioned, minimum amount of fire sprinklers, fire alarms, smoke alarms. There has to be a command center. There has to be a given number of fire extinguishers. There has to be a clear hallway of holding area, refuge area. That means where do you initially hold the patients and the relatives before you evacuate them? The evacuation plan has to be on each corridor in a particular font size and color so that people know, even in light smoke, which way to evacuate. There has to be staff training in case of these events. And lastly, oxygen cylinders being filled in this manner, it's going back to Jurassic Park. All hospitals these days have centralized oxygen supply. The reason of this is it prevents these mishaps. Untrained staff, I believe there were not even allopathic doctors who were appointed over there. They least know about these kind of skills.
That's true.
And special
Ayurvedic
care.
doctor.
Extremely unfortunate.
Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, I just want to ask you one more question. As you see politics play out, you had the classic example of what Dr. Akash Deep Muni as well as Dr. Anil Gupta said before you spoke. Now, when you saw the politics play out over the lives of dead infants, if I may, as a medical practitioner who's also seeing the report of 1/3 of nursing homes in the national capital were functioning without licenses, what would be your immediate what would you want to say about this?
I will say 2 things. One is that all the political parties at the present moment must rally to save the kids who are battling their life in other hospitals and to give comfort and support to the families who've lost their small infants. Point number 2, there should be a nationwide survey, not only restricted to Delhi NCR, nationwide strict survey. Any medical institution which is offering inpatient care, critical care, operation theater care, not adhering to any norms, and I'm saying even one single license is not falling into place, there should be punitive damages and that institution must be closed down till they obey all protocols. There is no deviation from rules, regulations, and licensing. They cannot be, they should not be, and they never will be.
Dr. Akashdeep Mune, if I may ask you this question, and you very conveniently put this whole blame game between the LG and the Aam Aadmi Party that's going on, but may I please ask you this question? If the minister was not allowed to function, why did he not raise this up this time during the election campaigning? Why did he not rally and go to the people and say, we are not being allowed to function? There were months of campaigning. I have not heard this from any Aam Aadmi Party leader.
It is quite unfortunate that you don't hear the Honorable Chief Minister and the Health Minister It is the Honorable
No, I'm
Supreme
talking
Court. You have
about
also not
Saurabh
heard. Let
Bhardwaj
me
in this
complete.
case. I'm
Let
not
me
talking
complete.
about the Chief Minister. Chief Minister has been constantly saying, but he has not spoken specifically about the medical cases. He has not spoken. I'm talking about the Health Ministry. I'm talking about the Health Minister. I have not heard Saurabh
Sneha,
Bhardwaj
shouting on me
campaign
will
on
not
this
help.
ground, that
Listen
he
to
has
me.
not been allowed to function.
Sneha, listen to me.
Please.
Shouting on me will not help. Listen to me carefully for 30 seconds. Now,
Please.
there are some, the health minister has repeatedly wrote to the lieutenant governor regarding, do you know who will take care of these licenses and everything? Mongaji was saying and Bagaiji was saying so many licenses and so many quality control assurance to be taken care of. It is the health secretary whom all this quality control assessments regarding health report to. And interestingly, I want to tell you that since last 4 days that this happened, the health secretary is gayab. He's not in the scene. He's not on the ground. He's not reporting to the ministry. He's not attending meetings against him. And this is why I said that you have not been hearing the health minister. The health minister has written several times in written to LG that this health secretary is not working properly and the quality control assurances are not taken, medicines are not provided, salaries are not provided. These are all written statements. That is why in 2015, the Delhi government went to the Supreme Court and fought a battle till 2023. After 8 years, the Supreme Court said that all the health secretary, all the secretaries will be reporting directly to the Delhi government. Till it was overturned. The decision of Supreme Court was overturned by a bill by central government. Now today I'm asking on your channel, Snehaji, please ask the Bharatiya Janata Party person that why the health secretary has not been sacked till now. And is he sacked or not? And where he is since last 4 days? Why he is hiding after killing
Dr. Anil
these
Gupta,
infants?
I mean, sure, ministers and the secretaries both are responsible. You've raised the point about how the health secretary is not in the picture. Sure, I'm going to ask Dr. Anil Gupta about that. But the truth also remains that the minister is as important as, in fact, more important because the minister is the elected representative. But nonetheless, a very important point, Dr. Anil Gupta, where is the health secretary?
Yeah, let me reply. See, there should not be any politics on this tragic incident. It is a very sorrow incident, and we should condemn what happened. But in Delhi Seva Bill, there is a committee headed by the Chief Minister and the two senior officers, Chief Secretary, Secretary Home, who take cognizance of all the cases against the administrative officers. Since last September 2023, not a single meeting of that committee was held to take all these actions. So who is responsible? Mr. Kejriwal is responsible. Till the time he went to Tihar jail for 6 months, there was not even a single meeting. You can check the record. These ministers, these chief ministers, they just shout, they just go on the media, but they don't perform their duties. Why the meeting was not held? If the health secretary is responsible or any other officer is responsible, why the action was not taken by that committee? Because that committee is headed by the chief minister. And chief minister does not spare even a few minutes to hold the meetings in September 2023. And the chief secretary has several times requested, even before going to the Tihar jail, he requested, you can check the record. So this is just bypassing. They are not doing their job and just bypassing. Why the health minister and other politicians of the Aam Aadmi Party visited that site?
Okay, you've made your point. Allow me very quickly. I know Dr. Akashdeep wants to very quickly respond. Dr. Akashdeep, I will not be able to give you more than 30 seconds because Sanjeev Bagai also wants to speak. Dr. Akashdeep, please go ahead.
I'll take only 10 seconds or 5 seconds. Will the LG sack health secretary as he is not there today? Direct question, direct answer. Sack karenge ya nahi karenge? Yes or no?
The officers are taken by a committee headed by the chief minister. You can go and check the record.
This
Delhi Seva Bill clearly says the transfer, posting, action, everything is taken by a committee headed by the
All
chief
right.
minister.
I think both of you have made the statement, and as both of you speak over each other, this is going nowhere. May I please request Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, please, you have your hands up, please respond.
Yeah, my only request to Akashdeep is that, we can do a post-mortem of this in great length, but there are two important carry-home points. One is ensure all hospitals have appropriate licenses and approvals. Anyone not complying, put punitive damages. Point number 2, the immediate need of the hour, the acute crisis need is
And not
institute a
5,000
team
rupees,
of...
please. I mean, that's what the first offense and the second offense is, doctor. I felt like laughing. It's a mockery. 5,000 rupees as a punitive punishment if you have the first offense. I mean, that's ridiculous in today's time, sir.
It has to be changed. And the second important point is the immediate need is make a team of 20 or 25 pediatricians and newborn specialists. Let them help out where the patients have been shifted. Our immediate aim is to save the newborns which have been shifted to other hospitals. Any medical help is required, at least as far as I'm concerned, please call on me. We will always be there for the state of Delhi NCR.
So,
amazing. There you have it from the medical experts as they are meant to. But Dr. Deepak Monga, please go ahead. You have a point to make as well.
The basic logic is that all three of people who are standing right now and commenting. I just want one thing: please get a fire safety expert on board with you. We've been trying to be in touch with the people for years together now. We've been trying to help out people who are actually the experts and not have any other logic. Please understand, you need audits, you need fire evacuation lifts. We've been working on this from last 5 years. Help people to evacuate themselves. Help people to have audits. License, no license, a different question. I totally agree. But how about evacuating people? Somebody is getting licensed when he has nothing over there with all the 110 certificates. He had nothing over there and still he got license to operate from last 4-5 years. We need a proper audits to be done across the nation. We need to ensure that buildings about 10 meters have a fire evacuation lift as a compulsion. We need to have a GR, government regulation. एक दिन लगता है, भले वो BJP हो या जो भी आपका, जो भी parties हैं आपके लिए. We're talking about not pinpointing anybody. We just need one GR. Whoever is responsible can get out one GR. Every hospital needs to be inspected. Give that GR to a department or fire department or a PWD department. Trust me, within 48 hours you will get the results.
Okay, all right, we're totally out of time, Dr. Deepak Monga. You've made a very, very important point. Let me also just very quickly, Dr. Akashdeep Muni, in between you said shouting will not help. I'm not an anchor who shouts. I may have been loud because between the politics, a lot is getting lost. So apologies to you if at some point you felt that I was shouting at you. Certainly not. This is something that is extremely close to our hearts. To all 4 panelists, I want to thank you for joining us. And to Dr. Akashdeep Muni and to Dr. Anil Gupta, both to the government at the center and at the state, you just got a glimpse of how India functions. You heard what Dr. Deepak Monga and Dr. Sanjeev Bagai said on the show. They are available with their expertise. I can vouch that for much of India. I do hope we have the right people in our systems to partner to ensure this does not happen in the future. Thank you very much, all 4 of you, for joining us. Thank you, viewers, for joining us.
Great job.
It's time for a very short break. On the other side, we'll bring you all the latest and the big news in the late night edition.